Good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mariko Hill, and today I'll be performing a presentation on behalf of GenCore Pacific and Pharmaco Biotechnologies on Keep Gamers Gaming. So some things that you might need to know. Obviously, the gaming industry is growing today, and right now is a time for brands to maximize the opportunity. So I think right now athletes are actually embracing the role of nutrition on enhancing their acute as well as chronic side of their health. So two main ingredients I'll be talking about are going to be palmetto ethanolamide, or PEA, and curcumin for brain performance and protection, which are hugely relevant in the gaming industry. So first of all, talking about the emergence of gaming. I think gaming really is a new phenomenon, and there's absolutely no deep-rooted culture, because when you think about it, technology only came in around 15 years ago, so there's no real long-term science on ingredients for gaming. And although gaming right now is not in the Olympics, it is actually in the Asian Games, which I've been really fortunate to watch in 2018, and it was a remarkable spectation. Also, it's also accepted by the International Olympic Committee as a sporting activity in 2017, so it really showcases the growth potential. And when you actually think about gaming, people might actually imagine gamers as sort of inactive, possibly overweight, but this doesn't actually hold to be true. When you look at the financial incentives in regards to sponsorship money and the prize money, and it's around $5 to $30 million according to the game, whether it's League of Legends or Fortnite, there's huge financial incentives for ambassadors to perform. And it's really, really important to, I think, as a role of nutrition to enhance gaming performance. So when you look at the scope for category growth, gaming nutrition category remains quite immature at the moment. And so in terms of breadth of need states, there are a number of different products that brands can tap into. So when you actually look at it deeper, 69% of brands only offer one product, and 90% of these products are actually focused in on one area, which is the switch on, or the performance-based outcomes. So as the industry better understands the need of gamers, whilst gamers themselves continue to embrace the role of nutrition, the category will grow exponentially. So what I've done here is really breaking down the categories. And when I looked at different products in this concept, there are the log on and log off concepts, which really focuses around the acute-based outcomes, such as the perform and relax. But there's also the typical pre, intra, and post-gaming concepts that really focuses around the supplementation around training and competition. Now, if you think about these two concepts right now, it really predominantly focuses around the acute-based concepts. But what I realize is that the untapped market would really be the chronic element, the longevity element for gaming nutrition. So this is where the acute and chronic packs really come in, where the acute focuses on the physiological outcomes to sustain performance, and the chronic aims at the long-term health impacts of the gamer. Now, if I were to further break this down into a visual, you can see on the left-hand side, it's the performance-based outcome, or also known as the acute. And on the right-hand side, it's the protective elements, also known as the chronic, or the long-term health impacts of the gaming nutrition. But before I really delve down into this deeper, it's really important to understand the demands and need states of gamers. So as you may be aware already, there's huge mental and physical demands of gaming. Not only do gamers perform in less than ideal environments where lighting is also an issue, there's blue light emissions that might influence vision, and mental strains that influences things like tension headaches, which is an emerging injury. Players also play for long durations of periods. As referenced below in a research article, competitors normally train or play for around 5 to 10 hours a day. So this really showcases how it's also a full-time job. And really interestingly, referenced again by the research below, is that neck pains, back pains, hand pains, and wrist pains, or pain in general, are one of the most prevalent injuries in gaming nutrition. So if we're able to provide a solution from a supplementation standpoint around this, it really does provide scope for brands to innovate in this industry. But now that I actually delved into those need states, that again really focuses around the acute element of things, whereas I think really focusing on the protective element or the long-term influence will be very beneficial for brands. So what we want to try and do is ensure that gamers are healthy and injury-free throughout the year so that they can perform week in and week out. And this is where I want everyone to really try and focus on the brain health, the immune health, and the joint health elements. So that being said, brands can really innovate in a broader areas identified in this visual, whether for acute or the chronic concept. So what really is next for gaming supplements? If you look at the industry right now, caffeine, tablets, nootropics, as well as energy drinks really dominate in this segment. But what really is next? And this is where I think Ayurvedic botanicals that actually are deemed natural and healthier might come in. And this is where I'm going to elaborate on our branded curcumin, Hydrocurc, which is our bioavailable form of curcumin. And then also CBD alternatives, which might be a unique ingredient in this space. Of course, right now, CBD is being touted as a panacea. There's a lot of benefits towards it in the realm of mood support, pain and inflammation, immunity as well. However, there's a lot of legality issues that come about it. So this is where I'll be talking about Levagen, our branded palmetto ethanolamide, for relieving pain, such as headaches and joints. We've done a lot of research around this area, and I think it's really important to try and focus on healthier alternatives and natural alternatives. And so not only can brands innovate through ingredients, but they can also innovate through delivery formats. So beyond just drinks, they can actually have chewing gums, effervescent gummies, which are a much more convenient format for gaming nutrition. So to begin with, I'll be talking about the acute health concepts. And of course, as I alluded to earlier, the physical demands of gaming is very prominent in regards to the need of pain, headaches, and joint pains. And this is where I'll be talking about Levagen Plus, our branded palmetto ethanolamide, that has evidence and supports on reducing these areas. So you might be thinking, what is palmetto ethanolamide? Well, PEA for short is an endogenous fatty acid amide that's produced in the body naturally in response to pain, inflammation, and stress. Directly, it acts on PPAR alpha that has anti-inflammatory, analgesic, meaning pain relieving, and neuroprotective properties. Now, indirectly, it also interacts with the endocannabinoid system, also known as the entourage effects, thereby supporting mood, sleep, immunity, and pain. And this is really relevant to gamers as because of the physical demands, the long durations that they play in, and the improper posture that they have, it might actually lead to pain, tension, headaches, and the so-called gamer's thumb. And there's even a word for that term because of the pain that's endured. Now, what's really interesting is that there's been a meta-analysis done on PEA, which I highly recommend everyone to read. And it actually showcased that PEA may be a useful treatment for pain and is generally well tolerated. So this led us to do another study on headaches and pain, which I'll allude to later. Now, what's really important, however, is the fact that PEA doesn't act like any other pro-inflammatory mediators where levels increase. During times of inflammation or injury, levels of PEA endogenously actually decrease. Therefore, exogenous supplementation is needed to offset that deficit. So what I've done here is created an acute concept gaming performance concept from a product standpoint. And so this is an example pre-intra gaming chewing gum to manage discomfort and sustain gaming performance for long durations. And I'll elaborate on later with the rationale and the evidence supporting Levagen. It showcases its rationale for supporting joint function, reducing headaches, and easing nerve function. And this is thereby due to the ability to influence the endocannabinoid system. Now, of course, from an EU claims perspective, I have also included vitamin C and B6 for claims on cognition as well as easing nerve function. But last but not least, the addition of caffeine for its ergogenic aid in increasing alertness. The first study that we've recently we've completed is our PEA versus ibuprofen headache study. Now, the rationale behind this is that ibuprofen or any NSAIDs is one of the most common treatments for headaches. And although it has benefits in reducing headaches, it does cause a lot of associated adverse side effects, So there's an increased need for effective and safe alternative treatments. And this is where PA comes in. And as I elaborated on earlier, the meta-analysis does showcase PA's efficacy in providing pain relief and anti-inflammatory properties with no side effects. So this is where we designed a double-blind randomized controlled study where we actually compared Levagen Plus to ibuprofen in reducing pain severity and duration in headaches. Now, what came about with the results, really interestingly, is that Levagen Plus is equivalent to ibuprofen across the whole spectrum of the headache resolutions. More interestingly is that Levagen Plus acted faster than ibuprofen in resolving severe headaches. So when you look at it from a graphical standpoint, Levagen Plus took 95.5 minutes compared to 116.9 minutes of the ibuprofen. So this led us to believe that the results may support the use of Levagen Plus as a safe and effective alternative to treatments used for headaches, which might be relevant for the need states of gamers, as of course that was one of the things that I alluded to earlier. Now, coming down onto the osteoarthritis study, this is more relevant to joint health, where this was published 2 years ago. Again, another study on Levagen, was an 8-week double-blind randomized placebo-controlled trial, where we wanted to see the efficacy of Levagen on joint pain, stiffness, and function. What we found was that there was a dose-dependent improvement across all subdomains, but more interestingly is that with our secondary outcomes, we also saw a reduction in anxiety levels, probably indicating there's an indirect influence on sleep too, due to its ability to influence the endocannabinoid system. Now, a recently completed study, we also wanted to establish a role of Levagen Plus on acute joint pain, and this encompasses all kinds of joint pain, whether it's on the wrists, the hips, the ankles, and the jaws. So it really encompasses all different kinds. And what we found here is that Levagen Plus actually acted really quickly compared to placebo, and there's a significant reduction in joint pain after 3 days compared to baseline, and then after 14 days compared to placebo. So if we were to wrap this all up from the acute concept perspective, all of these ingredients, the Levagen Plus, the caffeine, the vitamin B6, and the vitamin C has rationale to be in such a concept for managing discomfort and supporting nerve function. The fast-releasing caffeine is also there to sustain performance for long periods of time. And of course, sublingual absorption through a convenient chewing gum format. Now, coming down to the chronic health element of it. So if we're to look at chronic aspect of recovery, it's absolutely fundamental in gaming nutrition, as it's very critical for long-term health of the gamer. What we want to do is try and minimize the risk of infection and support cognitive health to keep the athletes performing week in and week out. So this is where we're going to try and focus on brain health and immunity. So this concept really focuses on the chronic elements of product development. And this is a Prebet effervescent, or an all-in-one concept for long-term health of the gamer. And it really focuses on, number one, optimizing immunity, as curcumin and palmetto ethanolamide has anti-inflammatory and immune modulating properties. It's also got iron and vitamin C that can contribute to the claims of normal function in the immune system. We also protect brain health, as Hydrocurc has been studied to significantly increase BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and increase iron absorption. Now, iron, as we know, has or can contribute to a range of physiological outcomes, such as reducing fatigue and increasing cognitive performance. Now, firstly, we're going to be talking about the evidence of palmetto ethanolamide and curcumin on immunity. Again, very relevant to gamers, as gamers actually perform in less than ideal environments. So what we want to try and do is minimize that infection and stay healthy throughout the years. Coming down to the existing literature, palmetto ethanolamide has been shown to be effective in reducing symptoms of cold and flus, as well as curcumin inducing anti-inflammatory benefits to modulate the immune system. So again, both these ingredients very relevant in the gaming industry in regards to supporting immune health. Now coming down into brain health, again, very relevant to gamers, as there's huge mental demands of gaming. And what we want to try and do is prevent cognitive decline and fatigue. There are almost over 1,000 published clinical studies just in the realm of curcumin and brain health, as curcuminoids, which are the active constituents of curcumin, helps to improve mental function, and they also act as neuroprotectors. Not only that, but curcumin is also studied to increase BDNF and iron absorption, which I'll elaborate on in the coming slide. So you might actually be thinking, what is BDNF? Well, BDNF is a protein in the brain that's important for neuronal health, cognitive function, specifically learning and memory, and energy homeostasis to reduce fatigue. Not only that, but iron, which is also fundamental for different physiological outcomes, is necessary. However, iron is one of the most common nutritional disorders in the world. Therefore, if we're able to increase iron absorption and limit these challenges, I think there's a space for ingredients such as curcumin to be incorporated into gaming nutrition. So what we did is a recently published gold standard study that was actually published in a very high impact factor journal. That was a 6-week double-blind randomized controlled study in co-administrating iron, or 18 milligrams of iron, with 500 milligrams of Hydrocurc to see the effects on BDNF and ferritin levels. We also had a placebo group that had a placebo curcumin with 18 milligrams of elemental iron. Now, what we found was that the co-administration of Hydrocurc with iron significantly increased ferritin levels and BDNF levels compared to placebo, whereas the placebo had no significant difference in both BDNF or ferritin compared to baseline. So with this, we can conclude that Hydrocurc helps increase both BDNF and ferritin when co-administrated with 18 milligrams of iron, which can actually lead to enhanced cognitive function and the reduction of fatigue. So again, to wrap things up, this example formulation, or the effervescent, that has award-winning ingredients with Levagen Plus and Hydrocurc, alongside iron and vitamin C, creates this all-in-one formulation for cognition and immunity. It does also actually help in sleep, which I didn't really, go down to right now due to limited of time. However, with these iron and vitamin C, we also do have EU-approved health claims to back this concept. Now, we do understand that PEA and curcumin has its role in these kind of nutritional benefits. However, with these two ingredients, it does come about with challenges with absorption and limited format availability. So what we have here is a video to showcase the functionality. And of course, unfortunately, we're not in Amsterdam today that I can show you in person. But on the right-hand side, you can see our Hydrocurc, which has high functionality in cold water, whereas on the left-hand side, it's standard curcumin, where it clumps up and agglomerates. So we use innovative lipid-dispersed delivery technology to actually reduce the surface tension of the lipophilic particles, and it prevents agglomeration, allowing brands to incorporate such ingredients in various formats. Not only that, but we've got 2 published pharmacokinetic studies that actually prove the high bioavailability of both Hydrocurc and Levagen Plus with the utilization of lipid-dispersed delivery technology. So this really provides diversification in gaming nutrition, and brands can actually now expand their range, whether it's going to be in a capsule format, to a gummy formulation, to ready-to-drink shots, or even an effervescent that provides really convenient formats for gaming nutrition. So in summary, both these ingredients provide excellent safety and efficacy profile. We also continually invest in gold standard clinical research with ongoing clinical studies. With Levagen, we've got studies ongoing in sleep, allergy, migraines, cold and flus, microbiome. And then with curcumin, or a Hydrocurc, we're doing one on joint pain, iron absorption, and quality of life. So all very relevant to gaming as well. Not only that, but we provide full transparency and clean label, and we batch test regularly with NSF and LGC. And in fact, currently, we're in the process of getting informed ingredient and testing every batch for absence of wider band substances. And last but not least, the use of innovative delivery technologies to increase bioavailability and functionality, which offers brands to differentiate amongst the crowds. So some key takeaways from this presentation. Of course, esports and gaming is not going away, and it's now time for brands to maximize this opportunity. Gamers are also really, really serious about their performance, and they need solutions that can support both the acute side and the chronic side of the health. And with this existing literature, palmetto ethanolamide and curcumin does provide rationale to be incorporated in such formulations, and there's clear scope for using innovative delivery formats to expand brand range. So with that said, thank you so much for all listening. If anyone wants this presentation or any questions asked, please contact me directly through LinkedIn or the email address. Thank you.